Hey everybody, it's Patrick Grosser with Fathom Realty, and the numbers are in for August of 2021. We're going to take a look at those numbers for the Cincinnati real estate market and compare those to August of 2020. We're also going to discuss 3 strategies you can utilize right now in the fall market coming up here to achieve your real estate goals, whether you're buying or selling or doing both. But first, let's take a look at the numbers here for August of 2021, again compared to the same month last year. New listings are up 5%. Certainly that's encouraging to see. We're in a low inventory market and have been for quite a while. So any new inventory coming to market is certainly welcome from buyers. That's not going to hurt sellers too much. It's not a huge change. Closings are down 7% compared to last year. We've discussed in recent weeks and months that due to the COVID-19 pandemic starting last year, hitting in the spring, we saw that a lot of buyers and sellers waited to make their move until late summer, early fall. So we do expect that trend of a drop in closings compared to the same time last year to continue here throughout the fall. We'll see how that goes through the winter as well. Average sale price is up 13.5%, so that's certainly great news for homeowners. There's not a lot of investments that you can say have grown by 13.5% compared to last year. However, compared to recent weeks and months, or even throughout this whole year, we've seen price growth in the high teens, even sometimes in the mid-20s. So we're certainly seeing a tapering off in terms of how quickly home prices are rising. That's good news for buyers. Obviously, it's still more expensive to buy a home than it was at the same time last year, but prices are not increasing at the same rate they were in the summer. Average days on market is down 55%. So that means that from active status to pending status, that's happening twice as fast or more than twice as fast as it was the same time last year. So the speed of the market is twice as fast or even more so this time of year compared to last year. And then inventory is at 2.46 months. That's a little bit of a drop compared to what we saw last month. Typically this time of year we start to see the inventory number increase, so that's a little strange to see. 40% of that, however, is active or coming soon, whereas in previous months it was in the mid-30s, low 30s. So we actually have a higher percentage of the inventory being active or coming soon, which means we're starting to see listings sit on the market a little bit longer. Typically happens here in the fall when there's not as many buyers looking. So it does typically take a little bit longer to sell in the off season than it does in the peak season in the spring and the summer. But if you do the numbers there, about 40% of 2.46 months is roughly 1 month of active inventory, and that's what we've been seeing in the past weeks and months. So there's not a whole lot of change in terms of active inventory for buyers to choose from right now. So given that information, we're seeing some data points point to in the favor of buyers. Actually, just one of them, new listings being up 5%. That's definitely in favor of buyers. Closings being down 7% is really bad news for everybody, even people that are on the sidelines. We don't want to see less activity in the market, generally speaking. But again, we think we have a reason for that, comparing it to last year when there was more activity than usual in the early fall. And then average sale price being up is certainly in favor of sellers, as well as the days on market being less and the market moving more quickly, selling faster. That's certainly to the favor of sellers. So it is generally a seller's market. It's not as crazy of a seller's market as it was in the spring and the summer of this year. So we are seeing the seasonal trend actually take place here, which is a little bit of a relief, I think, for everybody to know that although the market was absolutely crazy and historically hot for sellers this peak season, it seems like we're starting to see some signs of normalcy here in terms of the market, where we're actually seeing things tapering off a little bit here in the fall like we normally do. So that leaves us with what strategies do we have here to achieve your real estate goals for buying, selling, or doing both. So first thing we'll touch on here real quick is if you're thinking about selling a home, although we were heading into the off season here, if your life situation dictates that you need to make a move before spring or summer, this is still a good time to sell. Historically, it's still one of the best times ever to sell. Although there's not as many buyers right now, there's also not as many listings to compete with. So there's still an opportunity to cash in on your home equity, to sell for top dollar, to get great terms like not having to pay for buyer's closing costs, not having to do a bunch of repairs, getting the closing date that you want, because we are still in a historic seller's market. So the best thing you can do is make sure you don't go cheap on marketing. Don't do just the basic stuff that for sale by owners and some other agents do. Is make sure you do a premium marketing approach, one that we call target marketing. You can learn more about how that works, what we do for our clients, by checking out our video there on the link, patrickgrosser.com/sell. That's an educational video. We'll walk you through the target marketing process. Essentially what we do is we look at the unique features of your home and we do demographic research to determine the types of people that will be most willing to purchase your home based on how those features match their needs. And you can imagine from their perspective, if they can find their dream home, which may be your home, if we match it correctly, they'd be willing to pay more for your home than they would or than someone would who's just thinking that maybe your home would meet their needs, but maybe they would make some modifications to make it work for them. So we don't want to just reach as many people as we can. We want to also reach the right types of people who would be most interested in your home. And that's how we do that through the target marketing approach. Again, you can check that out, patrickgrosser.com/sell. We're not going to try to swipe your contact information. We're not going to try to sell you anything on the video. We're educating you on that. If you want to take action, if you want to reach out to us, there'll be instructions on how you can do that at the end of the video. If you're buying in this market right now, you know inventory is still relatively low. The market's moving really fast, so it's still a challenge for buyers. But it is a good time, generally speaking, in the off-season, fall and winter, to be looking for a home, because sometimes we see some homes that have been on the market for a long time that didn't sell in the summer. They were maybe overpriced or not marketed properly or may need work. And the sellers are getting more and more desperate to sell because they have holding costs, whether they're living there or not. They don't want to hold on to that property for too much longer. So that's one scenario we see quite a bit in the off season. We also see some people who have a more urgent need to move, maybe a job relocation, the birth of a child, a marriage or a divorce or something like that, maybe a death in the family. As unfortunate as that is, that prompts a need for a move. We see people who are listing their homes for sale in the off season are usually, not always, but usually in a more urgent situation to move, usually more negotiable on price and terms. So that's to your advantage if you're keeping an eye on the market as a buyer. One thing we like to do for our clients if they opt in for this is our just looking approach. Basically what that means, and you can learn more about it at patrickgrosser.com/justlooking. There's actually a funny story in there on how we came up with this approach, but basically we set up a custom search through the MLS so you can get notifications before listings hit the market, some of them anyway, that come into coming soon status that you won't see on Zillow or other sites. You'll see come through your email inbox automatically. So you can still be hands off, but you can still keep an eye on the market. The best part of our just looking approach is if you're telling us you're just looking, we're not bugging you. We're not looking over your shoulder asking you to schedule a showing and see something or write an offer. We're not twisting your arm trying to sell you something. We're giving you the information you want and we're leaving you alone, frankly, is what we're doing. So that's our just looking approach. Check that out and how you can get signed up for that or just learn more about it. patrickgrosser.com/justlooking. And if you're looking to buy and sell at the same time, the biggest question is, should you buy first? Should you sell first? Should you do both at the same time? We actually go through all of your options there and even how financing works in those different scenarios so you can weigh the pros and cons and make the right decision for you. Check out the video, patrickgrosser.com/bridge. We also talk about a new solution we call the bridge solution. We've had some clients that have done that and had great success with that. They were able to sell their home for even more than they thought it was worth. They stayed in the home month to month until they found their new home and closed on that. They move into their new home and then they complete the sale on the open market of the previous home. But basically how that works is they're able to erase their mortgage debt. They get more cash in their pocket to pay off debts or to trade up to a better loan, put a bigger down payment down, so their offer on their next home is more attractive to the seller. So although these people in this case missed out on the first 3 offers they wrote, even though they were well over list price, tens of thousands of dollars, the 4th time, because they had traded up to a better loan, put more money down, more attractive to that 4th home that they bid on. So although they were in multiple offers here, they still won the bid and they actually moved into their dream home there, and they're completing the sale of their previous home in the open market. They couldn't be happier with the results. That's called the bridge solution. Check that out if you're curious about it. It works really well for people who want to buy first but can't get qualified to hold 2 mortgages at the same time, which is many people. Maybe they can afford it, but the banks say that they can't do that due to debt to income ratios. So this is a way to kind of bridge that gap. That's why we call it the bridge solution. And that way, the biggest advantage, I think, is that you can be more competitive with your offer. And perhaps even more importantly, you only have to move one time. So you stay in the house even though you're cashing in on that equity, and then you're moving into your next house, and that's it. You don't have to move into an apartment. You don't have to move in with family or friends after you sell and then buy. And you also don't have to rush buying your next home because you're already in the process of selling your house and you have to find something in the next 30 days to close on, or else you have to move out in somewhere else in temporary housing. So take your time, make a good decision. This allows for all of that. It allows you to be in a better financial position for your offer. Check out the bridge solution. Also, your other traditional options you can check out there at patrickgrosser.com/bridge. Now, I hope this information in general, the market news, these strategies are helpful for you. We do a video like this every single Friday. We also sprinkle in some other videos on buyer strategies and tips on a weekly basis, or sometimes every other week. So if you want to make sure you're getting this information, if you like this kind of information about the Cincinnati real estate market, make sure you hit the like button. That way the algorithm has the information it needs to send you more relevant information that's helpful to you. Also, if you want to make sure you don't miss any videos that we do in the future, follow our Facebook business page and turn on notifications. That is the only way to make sure you don't miss anything on our Facebook feed and everything. You can also look through our timeline and playlist on our Facebook page, look at the previous content we've put out there and see if any of that's helpful to you. And also you can jump over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, Patrick Grosser-Cincinnati Realtor. And by the way, if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover, or any questions that we haven't answered in our previous videos you'd like for us to do in a video format, we'd be happy to do that, get you educated, help you out any way that we can. And also, chances are it helps us out a little bit because there's probably somebody else in our audience that has the same questions, wants those same topics covered. So go ahead and drop those topics, those suggestions, and the questions you have that you'd like answered in the comments for us. I'm Patrick Grosser, and thanks for watching.